Good evening and welcome to the Federal. Campaigning for the Tamil Nadu Assembly elections and for West Bengal's first phase of polling has concluded today. Uh, the polling is on the 23rd of April. Now, the stakes for each of the parties in both these states couldn't have been higher than they are in this election. You have in Bengal Mamata Banerjee trying to defend a 15-year rule against a very aggressive BJP. In in Tamil Nadu, you have the DMK alliance with the Congress and other regional parties, trying to do the same against an AIADMK led alliance, which has the BJP also in it. And this time around, with a new player in the ring, Tamil actor Vijay's TVK. So, to break down what is at play in each of these two states, I'm joined by my colleagues Mahalingam Ponuswamy in Chennai and Samir Purkayastha in Calcutta. Both of them have been traveling extensively to cover the elections. And so let's get straight to discussing what's at stake for these parties, what's happening in Bengal and Tamil Nadu. And I'd like to start with Maha. You know, the election this time around in Tamil Nadu, Maha, is a battle. It's not just your regular battle between two alliances, the DMK-led alliance and the AIADMK alliance. You have the X factor, the TVK of Vijay. So, a lot of hype, a lot of discussions around Vijay have been taking place. Uh, how do you see Vijay's party performing? Is he going to be like, do we see a MGR in the making, or is he going to be someone like Kamal Hassan, or, maybe at best a Vijay Kant once the votes are cast and the count is in?
Yeah, we are in the situation to start our first question with Vijay. So, Vijay, yes, he generated massive hype with huge rallies, strong youth and urban appeal, and the Dravidian alternate focusing on good governance and anti-corruption and youth issues. Personally, his appearance as a popular hero, everybody's want to see him, want to take a selfie with him. So there are many number of views thrown whenever he comes out from his residence. But however, the cinema storm become hidden. If you take many actors after MGR, many actors failed. Particularly Vijay Kant, Kamal Hassan, they couldn't make their mark actually. But MGR succeeded because he built a strong organizational base. So within DMK, he came out with around 15 district secretaries and leaders, secondary leaders. He cultivated a pro-poor image also, and he ensured that he aligned with Dravidian politics, apart from the film and star attraction. So he launched anti-incumbency also. Then he did a lot of groundwork also. And if you take Vijayakant, he is a strong initial impact player in the first election. He gained, MGR gained 32 percentage. He became a chief minister in first election. Second, Vijayakant, he's managed to get 8 percentage of the poll in first election. So he also portrayed him as anti-corrupted, and he's called as a captain. So he's also created a lot of impact in elections. But Kamal Hassan story is very different from both MGR and as well as Vijaykanth. He generated as an intellectual buzz, like he is having urban support, but he failed to win and build a border base. So Vijay is saying he's a MGR in making, but I think it's unlikely in this election because he doesn't have a deep organizational network yet. Actually, there is no. The DMK is a very new party, so but the party is heavily rely on fans rather than cadre or caste or any second lane leaders. Actually, they're very limited second lane leaders. So inform
So
ideas.
organizational challenges at the grassroots,
Yeah,
difficult to mobilize people
definitely.
without an organization. Just having a face doesn't matter, is what you're saying.
So Tamil Nadu voters often very difficult to vote for without any experience. They can't blindly go only with the star power. So they actually very clever. Tamil Nadu voters are very clever. If somebody is with experience, with X factor, yeah, definitely he's going to spoiler for either DMK or NDA, that we have to see. But pre-poll opinions, as some of the opinions has come out, and they giving projection of TVK may get 10 to 25 percentage of vote share in first election. Is a very good vote share for first election, but seat conversion again is a different ball game, and TVK's Vijay's DVK may get 0 to 5%, 5 seats so far, the according to private opinion polls. But we have to wait for the election, because I spoke to a couple of insiders in TVK, and the campaign strategy also sent out a tweet. He's saying this election, no prediction will go right. Everybody is very difficult to predict this election. This is what they claim. And also the one more point he adding that people will vote for TVK is kind of silent revolution is happening. What this is what TVK leaders are saying. Puneet.
Right. So, Maha, I mean, you've laid out the challenges and the opportunity that the TVK had. The DMK, of course, doesn't have to face any of these problems in terms of organization or narrative or ideology and all of that. And it has rather a clear narrative going into elections this time, whether it's social welfare, whether it is its fight against, the Hindi and Hindu imposition of the BJP, or issues of federal balance and imbalance. But at the same time, the DMK also has had its own share of problems, corruption scandals, law and order issues. Uh, how is it going for the DMK in this election so far? Do you think it's in a position to tide over all of these challenges, or is there an undercurrent for change
Yeah,
in the
it is
areas
there.
that you
Yeah, it
travel
is
to?
there. It is there. Yeah, the DMK narrative is remains very strong among its core bases, like what you discussed. But the DMK is more on social justice issue and welfare scheme, and as well as Tamil identity, Tamil pride, and it's perceived that they are one of the major player against BJP. Even in delimitation bill, if you take that Stalin is burn the bill and wear the black shirt to show the protest against the central BJP's move and all. So if you take that, I think BJP, the DMK is playing very clever politics against ruling center BJP. Number one. Number two, what are the problem actually the DMK is facing, the law and order issue? If you go to the field, that we ask 10 women about DMK's problem in the DMK's rule, the number one they will say women safety and law and order issue, and particularly the drug issue. Drug will be available everywhere. This is what even opposition parties also is heavily doing campaigning against DMK. And other issue, I would say that corruption allegation is there, but BJP is trying to say that DMK is most corrupt. But recent interview, DMK leader also respond to the allegation. He's saying that you misusing of ED and IT, and BJP is trying to give a corruption color to DMK. It's all are fake. There is no corruption allegation, proper allegation against DMK. What they're saying. So as we discussed, the law and order is again a very big problem at the poll issue. I think some of the DMK leaders also accept that they have to look into law and order issue again if they come to power. Retain the power.
So it isn't exactly a cakewalk for for the DMK either.
No,
They
it's not.
have challenges ahead of them.
Yeah, exactly. But only the plus
Right.
point I would like to mention here on one point. The opposition, there is no unity among the opposition. It's kind of four corner, strong three corner fight. NDA, DMK, and DBK, and Seaman party, the Ram Tamil Katchi. There
Right.
are four corner party. Apart from the four corner fight, there are small frictions are there. So they are also spoiling NDA's winnability. So the DMK's high
So a
command,
split in the opposition vote is what you're saying.
yeah, it's completely splitting. So the splitting will help
Okay.
DMK. This is what the DMK's believe in the upcoming
Okay.
election.
I'll come to Samir. Samir, for Bengal, in this phase, the first phase of polling, 152 seats going to polls. Last time around, 92 of them won by the by the Trinamool Congress. 59 of them won by the BJP. It's a phase where you have uh, strongholds of the BJP, strongholds of the Trinamool, and then you also have, of course, the districts of Malda, Murshidabad, Uttar Dinajpur, where the Congress was traditionally strong and is now trying to revive. And these are, of course, also the Muslim-dominated regions of Bengal. Uh, so, for the Trinamool Congress, 15 years, long time in power. Uh, a very aggressive BJP to counter, problems with the SIR. How is it panning out for Mamata Banerjee there?
See, the Mamata Banerjee should be cautious, at least more so after the SIR exercise. The revision of voter list has already raised the stakes. In several constituencies, the number of deletion has exceeded the last victory margin. And as you know, minorities and women, the two demographics that have long been the key pillars of the TMC support base, appears to be most affected by this SIR exercise. So that introduces an element of uncertainty, and that could hurt the TMC. Having
But
said
is it
that,
also the phase where the SIR, the adverse impact of the SIR for the
yes,
Trinamool would be
yes,
the most visible? Is this
yes,
the phase, the constituencies?
yes.
Right. Okay, sorry, we seem to have lost Samir there to a poor connection, but he'll join back in a bit. I'll come back to you, Achai. I think Samir is logging in again. In the meantime, let me come to you, Maha.
Yeah, please.
Vijay started his campaign very kind of tentatively, and then of course the whole stampede issue happened, the cases he got embroiled with. But he, as you were pointing out earlier, there's a lot of crowds coming in for his rallies. There's also at play the whole issue of minority votes. Vijay himself being a Christian, also a substantial Muslim vote in Tamil Nadu. Both Muslims and Christians votes also being vied for by the DMK-led alliance. So with Vijay, in the ring, is there, like you talked about a split of the opposition votes earlier, but is there also a likely split in these votes that could damage the DMK?
The one party in India actually enjoying that benefit of minority vote is DMK, no doubt about it. For if you take any constituency, if there is 10,000 minorities, mostly they will vote for DMK. This is the regular stuff. But this time, I don't think it's any deceptions in this regular stuff. I would say that the DMK will start its number from 10,001, but other opposition parties has to start from one. This is the benefit of having a holding minority ground in Tamil Nadu. But I would say that DMK is shielding its own minority vote bank like never before. There are a couple of example I can share. Number one, initial from the day one itself, they very cleverly pitching this election as an anti-BJP centric election. So I guess is the motive of pitching this election is anti-BJP centric to protect its own minority vote bank. I think so. Number one. Number two, even the delimitation bill actually it's helped DMK like anything because it shows that they are fighting directly with BJP. They are protector of minority, protector of women. So such a narrative actually set by DMK in this election by using current politics also. So I would say that Vijay is. I don't think he's penetrated a strong root of minority vote and the DMK's campaign strategy like I mean Vijay is not a protector of minority and he's also having a underground link with BJP or some other party. So their narrative is actually very good at this election. So I would say that it's not that easy to catch hold of minority votes by Vijay this time. He may take what all predictions saying. He may take at least if for example if 10 votes minority votes are there, Vijay may take 3 to 4 votes. But it's not that easy to crack the DMK's shield actually. This is what people are also talking about it actually.
Right. Thanks, Ma. Samir is back with us. Samir, if you could
Yeah,
continue,
sorry,
you were speaking about. Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, there had been some disturbance because weather is getting bad here. So anyway, as you rightly pointed out, this Malda and Murshidabad are among the regions which is going to poll on 23rd. So, and as you know, these are the districts where, you know, there has been massive deletion. And most are minorities. And as I was saying, the minorities and the women are the two demography that have been affected most by this exercise. So this has definitely created a degree of uncertainty for the TMC. But having said,
and when you say women, you mean women across the two communities,
yes,
whether they're minorities or Hindus.
Exactly. So, but having said so, you see, if you see the 2001 results, the TMC swept with over 200 seats. And even in the region where the first phase polling will happen, as you pointed out, the TMC had a huge lead. So it has that cushion, and for the BJP to climb up, to that extent, might become difficult. Though this North Bengal and Murshidabad of late has become a BJP stronghold, particularly this North Bengal and Jangalmahal. Sorry, so particularly North Bengal. So BJP has entrenched itself. So and in Jangalmahal, RSS has a very strong presence. So these are high polarized zones where even a small swing and can flip results. And we have seen that in the last assembly election, dozens of seats were decided by razor thin margin, less than 5,000. So small swing here and there can alter the outcome. And
right.
So it's a.
I think for the BJP, Samir, you're talking about these areas also being BJP strongholds, and then of course the margins last time around being very thin. If I could just probe you a little more on that point, for the BJP, particularly since 2014, after Prime Minister, Bengal has been like the one in the east that the BJP wants to capture. But it has had in Bengal have very uneven electoral. They have high seen they kind of went down in the assembly elections of 2021. This time around, uh, what do you think the party is doing differently? And is it working? Is it going to kind of push them beyond the victory line? Anything that they're doing very differently in this campaign that you've noticed?
See, not really as party, at least not as a party in terms of strategy on the ground. But if anything, if anything, the party looks more cohesive and less faction-ridden this time. But
Compared to
but the
2021
yes,
or
yes,
2024?
but 2021 as well as 2024. Particularly 2024, there were open rebellion between old guards and new guards, but this time they appears at more cohesive, at least on the face of it. So as a party, I don't, apart from that, I don't think they are doing much different. The same old narrative, Hindutva narrative, same corruption narrative, almost the same narratives. But this time, one major difference is institutional. So this
Right.
election
The
is
EC, the Election Commission.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we have seen unprecedented role of the election commission, and not just election commission, even the central agencies. And what stands out is that the referee is almost overshadowing players. Election commission has stolen the thunder, is to say, and mostly for wrong reasons. This carelessly conducted SR exercise, it can it can shape electoral outcomes, because as earlier I mentioned that the number of deletion is so high. uh, so this thing can alter results. And apart from this EC's role, we have seen raids on Trinamool leaders and even candidates during the campaign period. So that changes the political atmosphere and puts the ruling party on the defensive, at least locally, wherein candidates are raided and all. So these are some of the things the BJP is doing. Some of the things which are unprecedented this time, and it appears that BJP has launched a multi-pronged attacks on the TMC.
Right. I must also ask you about Nandigram, because that's a seat that's going to polls in in the first
Yeah.
phase. And it's Shuvendu Adhikari's constituency. The last time around, that was the one seat everybody was talking about, because Mamata Banerjee decided to contest against him and lost eventually. This time, anything different happening in Nandigram, aside from the fact that Mamata isn't facing Shuvendu in Nandigram, but it is Shuvendu who's taken the battle to her in Bhawanipur.
See, I visited Nandigram last Saturday. So Nandigram has almost become a prototype of what BJP's Ram Rajya model could be in West Bengal. See, it has been totally polarized. If you less, there were hardly any flags of BJPs or TMCs. It's mostly the Jai Bangla flags or Jai Sri Ram flag. So those Suvendu Adhikari has also made no bone to seek vote in the name of Hinduism. His poll plank there is all Hindus should unite. So that kind of messaging. So it's a total polarized polarization on which
He is in a sense the BJP's Himanta Biswa Sharma in Bengal, in that sense.
yeah, and their Nandigram is kind of their laboratory, to say, to so to say. So it's and if you see the demography of Nandigram, it suits BJP. 25% Muslim, so it's almost like West Bengal's demography, 27% Muslim. So there is a significant chunk of Muslim to raise this bogey of minorities, but not so dominating like, say, in most constituencies in Malda or Murshidabad, where too much of polarization could backfire.
Right.
So Nandigram, in Nandigram, it's suits BJP, but having said so, this time the TMC has played a very smart move. They picked their candidate. The candidate that the TMC picked was a close aide of Subendu. So in a way, Subendu is facing an insider challenge, and Pavitra Kar, the TMC candidate, is a local guy. And so, and more importantly, he comes from block 2 of Nandigram. Now, if in Nandigram there is 2 blocks, block 1 and block 2. The block 1 has most this thing, has significant number of Muslim voters, but block 2 is predominantly Hindu, Hindu population. So and Pavitra Kar being from block 2, he has that local advantage. And the BJP in earlier election, in last election, the BJP took huge lead from this block. So the TMC has made a very smart move by this thing, putting up
with its choice of candidate.
Yeah, one of the close aides of Subendu.
Right. Ma, if I can come back to you, the 2 national parties that are, the junior players in Tamil Nadu, the Congress and the BJP. With regard to the Congress, this election, of course, they're part of the DMK alliance, which seems to be going strong. But there was a lot of ifs and buts about, the Congress, whether it wants to stay in the alliance, whether it's also kind of trying to have some kind of an understanding with the TVK during the seat sharing talks. And then eventually the Congress managed to get like 3 more seats than the last time around to contest. But then its campaign doesn't seem to have been anything great. Rahul Gandhi, the expectation that Rahul Gandhi would go there and share the stage with Stalin, do a joint campaign, hasn't really happened. Is the Congress kind of proving to be a weak link for the DMK? Is it, is that additional 3 seats proving to be a very heavy burden for the DMK?
Yeah. From I would say that from 4 months before election, there was no problem with DMK and Congress. But when the TVK leaders is eye on Congress, at what cost he want to cut the Congress from DMK-led alliance, and he want to form alliance with. TVK want to form alliance with DMK. So the Congress actually demanded 38 to 45 seats actually. So they floated power share, and they're trying to explore the ties with TVK. They managed well, but it couldn't happen in last minute, I would say. Despite of many sections of Congress leaders tried their level best. But one thing, the DMK needs Congress badly for retain minority votes and even urban packets, and giving especially fighting against BJP to get this warrior name among minority votes. So that last minute fight would hurt both more than help actually, especially with TVK that already we discussed about this. TVK is already splitting the votes, trying to split minority votes. So DMK at any cost they want Congress. Here, I would say that some ground level coordination is there is some friction in some ground level politics between DMK and Congress. It is that, but still the alliance is very intact, and I don't think there will be any problem on polling day. So it's looks like more routine pre-poll and bargaining ego, and they managed, and there was a breaking point also. So Congress is playing the loyal here, I think, but assertive as a role player.
Right. Now, the BJP, on the other hand, there's alliance with the AIADMK, but there are times when you hear the speeches, the poll speeches from Tamil Nadu, and it almost feels like it is the BJP that is the senior partner, and not the AIADMK. But is it like from the DMK's side, uh, a very careful strategy? Because if you
Yeah,
focus the whole campaign, the attack on the BJP, you're able to tap into the anger or the resentment or the resistance to this whole Hindutva imposition, the attempt to replace Dravidian identity by the overarching Hindutva identity. Is that the strategy, and does that make the BJP a liability for any party to ally with in Tamil Nadu?
yeah, actually, yeah. This is a very good question. Actually, what the ADMK is later may feel that allying with BJP also may be tracking them down. Actually, so this is another big drawback for ADMK. But this is very core and calculative strategy from DMK that pitching this election as a anti-BJP. So it's largely suits for the Tamil Nadu's political culture also. So it has allied with DMK-led NDA. They get 27 seats from ADMK. But I think the ADMK has asserted its dominance in seat selection and allocation, everything. The BJPs get minimum in urban and maximum in rural, and they expected a lot of seats from Kongu region, the best part, but they didn't give Kongu region, and they give only south packets where it has some growth. Like last parliament election, there were BJP managed to get a good number of wherever they get again. So I think Edapadi Palanichami, the ADMK leader, they allocated more seats from south also. But here BJP is a junior partner and contesting under lotus symbol, as you know, that Dravidian land is very difficult. I mean, getting more number of vote comparably, the two leaf will get more votes. That's why many coalition parties also contesting in two leaf instead of lotus. But only that Tamil Manila Congress is contesting in lotus symbol. But again, if you asking about how BJP and Hindutva appeal will be affect ADMK's win, yes, it's historically is resisted by BJP, and direct Hindutva appeal in Tamil Nadu is kind of fragmenting to contest against the minorities. So against the Tamil and Dravidian identity, these setups are really helping DMK this time also. So again, it's a poll issue now. And the ADMK's leaders are seeing as they were a proxy of BJP. They are not protecting Tamil interest. They are just surrender before BJP. This kind of narrative pitched by DMK also at ground level somehow is working, because I met many people. They also agree at least 10 to 20% of the wherever I met at ground, they are also saying, yeah, they are completely surrendering before BJP. So this is yeah, really the issue for ADMK. This is a very good point to discuss.
Right. Samir, this whole thing of the BJP's Hindutva. In Bengal, it's also a clash between that narrative and the narrative of Bengali subnationalism, Bengali pride, Bengali identity. And it's kind of manifested in different ways in this election, or in the run up to the
Yeah.
election. You've had everything from Vande Mataram to Bengal's fish to even Jhalmudi. Everything is now a point of discussion. And how do you see this clash of narratives kind of playing out in Bengal, and to whose advantage?
See, last time also BJP played the same card, but that time they were focusing mostly on Hindutva. But this time they blended the Hindutva with the Bengali, Bengali culture or Bengali narrative. They tried to repackage the narrative and make it more
I think Sameer's network is a bit unsteady again. We'll come back. I think Sameer is having, as he said, bad weather all the time in election-bound states at time, I guess. But Maha, I'll come back to you.
Political climate.
Sorry. Yeah. So Maha, in terms of Tamil Nadu, if I were to ask, just days before polling was to happen, you had this whole political debate. Of course, it was a national row over the Constitution Amendment Bill that the Modi government brought, and on the 16th of April. And subsequently, you've had the government saying that that was a bill that was brought to fast track the implementation of women's reservation. The DMK and the opposition are saying that it was to marginalize the political voice of the southern states like Tamil Nadu. The bill, of course, hasn't passed. The BJP is saying anyone who and everyone who opposed it is anti-women. Women, again, an important vote bank. Is that narrative working out for the BJP, for the AIADMK in Tamil Nadu, or it's not really having an impact? Or is the concern over delimitation kind of undoing whatever advantage the BJP thought it would gain?
Yeah, in Tamil Nadu, that Constitution Bill 2026, if you ask about, which is completely failed in Lok Sabha in April 17, is largely played as a self-hold for ADMK and BJP alliance, I would say. It's not a game changer against DMK, but it's I think it's DMK using as a core narrative, and they are, rather than shifting women significantly, the minorities, shielding minority vote. I think yes, this is actually become a poll issue among minorities and showing and pitching a narrative that DMK is a protector of minorities, because it's not here. Is not. I think if you ask 10 women about this bill, and I doubt that only 1 out of 10 will aware of such a things. But in political ground, they already they pitched very heavily against anti-BJP campaign strategy. So in that combo, this also fell into the same category. So DMK-led opposition actually they were using this as a their political stuff. It's happening.
So in Tamil Nadu, has it turned into a self goal for the BJP?
NDA and BJP. Yeah.
For the NDA, right? Sameer, if I can come back to you. Sorry, I think we lost you again for a bit there.
Yeah,
but yeah, you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you were talking about this clash of subnationalism and how the BJP this time has kind of changed that strategy by merging it with, their Hindutva narrative with Bengali pride and things. So if you could elaborate on that a little more, and then I'll ask you next.
See, because one of the reasons for BJP to change its strategy is the TMC has this time before, as you know, earlier this year, there had been lots of attack on Bengali-speaking migrant workers in BJP-led states, and that has become a major issue in this election. So and then there were instances where in CR Park, some Hindu activist went to the fish markets during Navratri and forced them to close shops, and all those things happened. So and the TMC sees this kind of incidents to uh, use it use it in this election as their poll narrative. So and so the BJP, the TMC is essentially saying if BJP comes to the power, it will be the sale of fish and meats will be banned, all those stuffs. And the BJP ruled Bihar has just a few months ago issued a this issued a notice restricting sale of fish in near schools, temples, and all those areas. So this has further given TMC a handle to use against the BJP's Hindutva narrative, saying that BJP's Hindutva is basically a vegetarian kind of it's a vegetarianism push, and along with their Hindi push. So the BJP is this time trying to counter it, and the Prime Minister's other day, this optics of going to that to have jhalmuri is part of that larger narrative. But
In fact, a lot of BJP leaders who do consume non-veg have been making a beeline for restaurants and
yeah,
eateries there to even eat fish. I was just seeing a video of Anurag Thakur
Anurag
enjoying
Thakur.
fish somewhere. Yeah.
And one BJP candidates were, going around holding fish. So and so this is their this is a kind of narrative war going on, one identity versus another identity. And coming to the Prime Minister's yesterday, the other days, this Jhalmuri optics, he inadvertently he made a mistake. He went to a shop which is run by one migrant from Bihar. Now
Yeah.
the BJP's narrative in Bengal election is that there is no job here. The people are migrating to BJP ruled states, and TMC is countering it, saying this is not factually correct. We accommodate more migrants from Bihar and UP than the number of migrants we export. So, and the Prime Minister inadvertently yesterday endorsed the TMC's narrative, and TMC is now saying, look, we had said so. This guy came for employment here in Bengal. That means there is lots of employment here. That's why they are coming. So so Prime Minister's this Jhalmuri narrative has actually to say has backfired, or
Right.
or it failed
Has
to
lost its zing,
lost its
the
meaning.
mustard oil zing. Yeah. So, Samir, if I can ask you, the other thing about the way Mamata has been going about with this campaign, she's always been seen as the stormy petrel of Indian politics. But this is a campaign, and in fact, the months and years that have led up to this election has seen an extremely combative, more than usual combative Mamata Banerjee. She's gone to the Supreme Court and presented her case on the SIR. She's literally, piloted the whole opposition move of an impeachment motion against the CEC. Her party has been taking on the center almost every other day on financial issues concerning Bengal. At some level, does that also show, is that combativeness also a kind of cover for nervousness on which way the election is going, given all of the factors that you've spoken about before? Whether it's the institutional capture, whether it's the EC's role, or the BJP's own poll machinery. Is there a certain sense of nervousness about that? And
No,
there's, of course,
I
there's 15 years of anti-incumbency.
Yeah, I think more than it's not nervousness as such. It's a strategy. By taking on the issue, SID issue legally and politically, she is trying to frame the election as unfair and and trying to play victim cards. And the Mamta is very good in playing that victim card. That shifts debate from performance to making her a victim. So this is more of a strategy than nervousness. And by nature, Mamta is aggressive. Even last time, if you see her campaign, sitting on wheelchairs, she was very at
Right.
her aggressive best. So this is part of a larger strategy, so that the issue deviate from her performance. The she is now setting the agenda. So this helps her. But as you said, that after 15 years, there is definitely there is a degree of incumbency, the undercurrent of incumbency, even in minority areas, especially among youths, over unemployment, then corruption, then recruitment scams. So there are whole lots of issues, and TMC is definitely for the first time facing that kind of that kind of I won't say strong anti-incumbency, but there is undercurrent. It's kind of the unease. uh, so that is there, and for the first time the TMC is facing this kind of discontentment. Otherwise, if you see this, ever since it came to power, the TMC's vote share went up. Mm, so, and it could it consistently maintained over 40% percentage of vote share. So so it's a that way it's this time the TMC is facing some unease, and the party and Mamata Banerjee is trying to move the debate away from her government's performance to these issues like SIR, then Bengali Ashmita, and all these things. And also, at grassroots level, and there are against the local sitting incumbent MLAs, there are discontentment. So to counter that, she is saying, I am the candidate in all 294 constituencies. And until now, as a leader, her popularity is far ahead of any of her challengers. So she has that advantage. And by playing a victim, and not only in on SIR issues, but also the center's fund choke and all. That is a part of a larger strategy. And this coming to the fund choke, it's on the part of the BJP. This fund choke is also, it is not just some administrative decision, it's also a political move. Because when you choke the fund, it's affect the performance of the state government.
Performance
And
of the government.
yeah, and the the anti-incumbency, the degree of anti-incumbency the TMC is facing in rural areas particularly, it's largely because of this fund choke, the freeze on 100 days work.
Nrega and others. Mhm.
Yeah. So and it has affected rural economy, and rural area is Mamta's a strong base. So the BJP, in fact, this started preparation for the 2026 assembly elections right after they lost in 2021. In 2022, they freeze the fund for 100 days work. So this is that is a actually more of a political move than the administrative decision. So
Right. So
and
some sense of unease, as Samir says, whether that sense of unease can turn into a major cause of worry because Bengal still has one more phase of polling to go, and Samir has at least another 1 week of traveling to do in Bengal. For Maha, the elections in 2 days' time, voting, and then a fortnight long wait for the results. We would have loved to have more questions, more discussions on the show, but then for paucity of time, we'll have to end it here. Thank you, Maha. Thank you, Samir, for
Thank
joining.
you. Thank
And
you.
we'll of course come back to Samir on the 29th of April after polling.